Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, recognize Heckler House, Heckler House. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this week there wasn't this past week there wasn't anything major going on except for the whole abortion thing, which is retarded. The Democrats are desperate, so they're trying to stir up trouble, and they're not condemning all the violence from the far left. So, when there's plenty of ways to prevent pregnancy, it's just fucking asinine. The far left has gotten retarded. But anyways, moving on. This week I want to talk to you about a couple of things. The first thing is the whole Star Trek situation. We know Picard was an absolutely shit bomb. The season 2 was just god awful. So many plot holes, throwing canon out the window. It's ridiculous. The writers for this new Star Trek is just dumb. But what I wanted to talk to you about is I watched that new episode of the new Star Trek series, Strange New Worlds. It's definitely strange. Go get you some strange, fucking retards. It's so dumb. There was so much woke crap in there. It was pitiful. I hate the new the Spock they got. The guy who's playing Spock, he does not fit the part. He's absolutely retard. He can't fucking do Spock worth the shit. They introduced Cadet Uhura, which Lieutenant Uhura doesn't show up until Kirk takes the seat. She doesn't come aboard the Enterprise until Kirk is there. Not during Pike's time. The second one that was not there is Nurse Chapel. She doesn't show up on the Enterprise until Bones shows up. Or Dr. McCoy. They're introducing new characters that shouldn't even be on the Enterprise yet. They revive or resurrect Samuel Kirk, which is Captain Kirk's older brother. He dies. I'm not sure if it was the pilot or the first episode of Star. I can't remember. But I know he dies right off the bat during the original series. So they bring him back, which is dumb. But anyways, whatever. It's just they were putting on there politically wise that it's all the Trump supporters and the right that's blows up the fucking earth and blah 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 blah, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's when the Trump supporters and shit are the far right, which I'm not a part of. I'm just stating from my point of view, they're not violent. It's the far left that has been violent, and that would cause that kind of mayhem. And it shows in our news today, how the White House supports them being violent to the Supreme Court justices and all that kind of shit. And they're being very violent. So unless you want to watch woke trash, I do not suggest the new Star Trek series. Strange New Worlds, because it's nothing to do with Trek whatsoever. It's a political propaganda by Alex Kurtzman. So anyway, moving on. I did watch the Moon Knight series, and I wish I hadn't, because that show had some potential. It really did. It had a lot of potential. But they fucking, as they always do, they go full on woke with this shit. Marvel. And it sucks. It turned to shit. From my understanding, I'm not, in the Moon Knight. I don't read the comics or anything like that. But from what I understand from others that I've heard, the series literally goes nothing like the fucking comic book series. He's supposed to have like a major amount of multiple personalities, not just 2 or 3. And the series just goes way on feminist with the whole cringe moment with her fucking his wife constantly badgering him, telling him what to do, that he's a piece of shit, and he needs to listen more to the woman, because she's always right. And then, fucking she's constantly saving his ass. And even though she she has no fighting skills whatsoever. But then all of a sudden, she decides to become an avatar of the hippo goddess, whatever the fuck her name is. And she's got this retarded cringe looking outfit. And this little girl goes, "Oh, are you an Egyptian superhero?" Little girl out of nowhere amongst all these guy mercenaries and shit. And she's all like, "Yeah, I am." And she's like, "Oh, it's the dumbest shit ever." Reminding me of the same scene you see in Wonder Woman, where the little girl's fucking asking her about being a superhero or whatever. It's just full-on fucking retardedness. They can't get decent writers in there to focus on the fucking story and characters. They want to put all this woke, political feministic nonsense in these movies. It's just fucking gotten retarded. And Hollywood needs to stop. Seriously. It's got to stop. Now, I'm more when it comes to politics, I'm more in the middle. I don't lean way right and I don't lean way left. But here lately, it's like the past few years, it's just gone full on insanity with the far left. And it needs to fucking stop. It's gotten stupid. Anyways, moving on. I do not suggest Moon Knight. If you're a fan of Moon Knight, the comic book series, or the character, you're not going to like this show because it has nothing to do with that fucking character. They totally ruined it. Moving on. I just got done literally watching the movie Morbius. Now, Morbius is not a big character in the Marvel Universe. I really don't know why they did a Morbius movie. I'm not against it or anything. It's not a huge established character. So it was kind of bizarre when they first came out and said they were going to do one. But whatever, I'm all for it. Why not? But again, it's Disney Marvel. Leave it to them to fuck it up. I don't know. This movie, it was meh. Like, the story, the plot line of, the brother or best friend turning against him kind of shit and becoming like him, and then they have to fight it out. It's been done 100 fucking times, that kind of storyline. So, it was kind of boring. Honestly, it was. It was boring. They didn't really, except for the echo thing. How bats are blind. They use echosensory perception to, see or whatever. They really didn't go too in depth into his abilities. He just jumps around and he noticed he could float on, a gust of wind or some shit like that. But other than that, they really didn't get into his abilities very much. And they have some sonic thing where he can push objects or people. But other than that, that's it. They didn't really get too much into his abilities, all he can do. Whoop-de-doo, his eyes change his color, and, he looks like this horrific monster when, he's hungry. Ooh. But other than that, I don't know. The story was lame. And then the last part really got me is when they did the post-credit scene where the Vulture shows up and says, hey, you and I and a bunch of others should get together and form up a team. They're trying to lead into the Sinister Six. But this makes no sense because, according to the comics, Morbius is not in the Sinister Six. He's never a part of that group. So I don't get why they're doing that, because he has nothing to do with that group. There is one storyline in the comics that has to do with like the whole X-Men thing or whatever, fucking where the creature from another universe, I can't remember what the fuck his name is. He creates like this Sinister 66 or some shit like that. And Morbius happens to be a part of that group. But it was a lame storyline. It didn't go anywhere. And that's literally the only time. He's never a part of the Sinister Six. Even though throughout the comic book history, it reappears over and over again, the Sinister Six. Or different versions of it. But he's never a part of it, ever. So it was really weird that they had that ending in it. Strange. I don't get it. Why did they do that? That makes no sense if he's not a part of that group. But anyways, so was the Morbius movie good? No. It was just meh. If you want to watch it, fine, but I was a little disappointed. I thought it'd be better, and it wasn't. It kind of sucked. But it was okay for a one-time watch, I guess. Anyways, it definitely gets a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Just because you can watch it, but you're probably not going to be like, yay, it's not really that great. So let's move on to your B movie reviews. So, Movieholics, this week is Fantasy Week. Now, going on with the whole superhero genre, again, most of the superhero genre I consider fantasy, even though it could be considered sci-fi too, but I consider it more fantasy. The only time I really think it's more sci-fi is when you start getting into, super alien crap and space is involved, like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's more sci-fi than superhero, I think. That type. Yeah, Superman's an alien and shit, but I still consider that more fantasy than I do sci-fi, to be honest. So, anyways, moving on. This week we're taking a look at a couple more superhero movies. In fact, I'm finishing off Burton's Batman. We're going to take a look first at like Batman Forever, which I already did Batman and Batman Returns. This is Batman Forever, and it was done in 1995. It's the third installment. It starred Val Kilmer, and the leading lady was Nicole Kidman, who played Dr. Chase. She's kind of like a slash doctor, reporter, psychologist kind of thing. Now the movie only made about $300 million worldwide, so it did okay, but it didn't really do all that great considering today's standards. Basically, they introduced the Riddler and Two-Face in this one. The Riddler, formerly worked for Bruce Wayne as a scientist, and he tried to introduce a mind-altering device to Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne was like, yeah, we need to take some serious look at that before we go any further with that. If it's altering the brain waves and shit like that. And of course, Edward Enigma, he didn't like that, and he decided to take matter in his own hands and create the device himself. Eventually, he becomes the Riddler, and then he has a vendetta against Bruce Wayne, and then, of course, naturally, Batman. Now, he eventually teams up with Harvey Dent, or aka Two-Face. Now, Harvey Dent was an attorney who had acid splashed on half of his face. It drove him crazy. One side is always, about justice. The other side is about chaos. Law and order and chaos. Two sides of a coin, as you would put it. Anyways, Two-Face has already been creating havoc for Batman, as you see in the beginning of the movie. But eventually, he joins with Riddler, and they try to take out Batman. And of course, Chris O'Connell plays Robin. He eventually decides to join the team. He forces his way into becoming Robin. Because at first, Bruce Wayne felt sorry for him because his whole family dies because of Two-Face, and he takes him in as tries to help him out. But he discovers the Batcave and decides to become Robin. And Alfred, of course, he approves and tries to help him out. Anyways, they eventually go after Two-Face and the Riddler and stop him. Now, of course, Nicole Kidman, Dr. Chase, she plays his love interest in this. Naturally, it doesn't work out. It never does. But anyways, once this one after Batman Returns, I don't know what he was thinking with the way he did Penguin. Burton is really, he's always been that, creepy kind of, Mordred kind of dude, fucking morbid. Sorry, Mordred. Morbid kind of dude, and it just didn't work. As far as I'm concerned, with the Penguin, it didn't work. They tried something a little bit different. They went more towards the whole, the TV show Batman in the 60s and 70s, where it's a wham bam, the colors, the pizzazz, that kind of shit. the one-liners. And it kind of fell flat. It didn't work quite as well. Like the Batmobile, like what the fuck, you know? They put all these weird blue colors all over it, and I don't know. It looked really weird. It looked more like a part of Alien from the movies Alien. I don't know. It was strange looking. But yeah, they went that route, and it kind of fell flat. It didn't work quite that well. It was an okay movie for what it was. Honestly, it wasn't really that good. It was okay. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. If you're into superhero movies, you can go ahead and check it out. Like I said, it was decent. You know, it had some great actors in it. It just, I don't know, the story was kind of lame. But at least in this movie version of the Riddler, you know, he didn't look like some fucking retard guy that sits at a computer. It just, the Batman movie, that Riddler was just fucking retarded compared to this Riddler. This was more on par with the comics. That Riddler was just fucking retarded. Alright, so moving on. The next one, of course, is the fourth installment, and the last one Burton did. It's called Batman and Robin. Now, O'Connell came back to reprise his role as Robin, but Val Kilmer decided to opt out, and George Clooney comes in to play Batman. And your leading lady, which normally is like a reporter or the psychologist, whatever, he had like a girlfriend in this, but she pretty much was a nobody. I don't even after watching it just a few days ago, I hardly even remember who the hell she was, because she just wasn't significant. The significant leading lady in this was Uma Thurman, and she played Poison Ivy. This one was done in 1997, made about $200 million worldwide, so you could see that it dropped. You know, people just didn't care for this new type of Batman he was presenting, Burton was presenting. But anyways, like I said, he's morbid in his thinking, you know. He thinks of fucking like the dead and ghosts and crap. And it just doesn't work for the Batman. Anyways, they went more colorful with this one, even more like the 60s version of the TV show. It was really crazy. More colors, more pizzazz, more theatrical type of shit. It just didn't work. Again, you know, in this one, you know, you have Freeze, Dr. Freeze, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, you know, he's trying to save his dead wife from a disease. He's a pioneer in this particular disease and trying to find a cure for it because of his wife, I'm sorry, she's not dead, but she's dying. He kind of used cryogenics to, you know, temporary freeze her until he could find a cure. Well, he ends up fucking himself up when he did some chemicals. It made him to where he has to be in really cold temperatures all the time now. Anyways, he's giving Batman and Robin plenty of trouble. And then along comes Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy. She was working for this other doctor who created a serum called Venom and then injects it into Bane, which creates Bane. He was trying to create a super soldier and try to sell it on the black market. She takes Bane and kills that doctor. After he tries to kill her, instead it makes her into Poison Ivy. And she's all about, you know, plants and shit. She wants to kill off the human race and lets the plants take over. She teams up with Freeze and they try to kill off Batman and Robin, which doesn't work. She ends up fucking herself up and she ends up getting killed herself or maybe she doesn't get killed. I don't know. It doesn't really show. Anyways, Freeze, he thinks Batman killed his wife, but he didn't. He actually saved her, and he tells him if he can help him save Alfred, he will give him a laboratory to continue his work so he can find a cure for his wife, which Freeze agrees to, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. He saves Alfred, and he gets his lab. Oh, that's right. Towards the end, it shows him come across Poison Ivy at Arkham Asylum, tells her he's going to make her life a miserable hell because he finds out it was her who tried to kill his wife, not Batman. But anyways, that was the end of the movie. The story was okay, but again, all the props, all the colors, it was just silly. You know, where Two-Face would come bust into a room and create panic because he was shooting weapons and bullets all over the place. Freeze would come in there and he had these little ice hockey guys that would come in there and just skate around people. And the scenes where they were fighting when they're all there is just ridiculous because they weren't shooting anybody, but you got all these people running around screaming like he's shooting at them, and that's not what happened. It was kind of silly. But a lot of theatrics, again, way more colors. I mean, it's thumbs up, thumbs down. It was all right, but again, it was a little bit redonkulous. One-time watch, you know. Check it out if you're into superhero movies. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts on what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you have any movies that you might want to suggest or that you think I may never heard of or seen, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.